Incidentally, today I'm going to see if I can give you a few more recipes so you can hold on to until we get together at whatever time that Sister Jillian plans it, right? Okay. So is there, I wanted to ask something. Is there, I think this is when we have our little housekeeping and stuff like that. Is there anything that anybody wanted to bring to our attention or make reference to from last week or anything? All right, so while you're thinking, let me just make a few observations or in a little housekeeping here. Now the time we have been allotted a certain time, but the truth of the matter is there's so much I would like to tell and so much I'd like to do in this little time. But we're going to say, I'm gonna borrow an expression from my grandmother. She always say every mickle makes a muckle. So I'm going to compact as much of the little that I have. So you will end up with a lot. Mind you, this whole thing here, this whole session could take us into at least 4 or 5 months every week, this same session here. But I compact everything, I compact a lot of things. So we have to move quickly through whatever it is that we want to go through, right? I'm going to leave the comments for every 30 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna need a timekeeper. I don't know if Sister Jillian wants to give me just give us a toot at every 30 minutes so we can get some comments and things. And I will still keep on reading the chat in the chat, right? So another thing is a very important topic that I wanted to do, but it's a big topic. That topic alone can take 2 or 3 hours. And that is fasting. Because if you're going to be a vegan, if you're going to turn this way, you're going to have to deal with things like you might want to do your fasting. And fasting is very essential for rejuvenation of body cells, for dispelling some of the bad cells, and most of all, it is very good for those individuals who are interested in losing some of the pounds, shedding some of the pounds. But fasting and veganism go hand in hand. I wanted to do that, as I said before. So what I'm going to do is the last session that I'm going to be with you. I'm going to spend at least 30 minutes and just do the fasting before we do any of the practicals that we are going to do, right? Now for the practicals, I'm going to when we go, I don't know, we can probably look at a format. I don't know if you want to stay in your kitchen while I stay in mine, or I'm going to come in. I understand that Sister Jillian wants us to come in person. Yes? Yes?
Yes, it would be good.
All right.
I think it would be good to see you in person doing everything and we're there.
Okay. All right, so that I think that was the ideal plan, but so we will work on that. All right. Okay, so let's get into it then. Thank you again, as I said before, for the opportunity. It's this is basically my passion and my mission, and ever since well, I've been doing this for more than 40 years, I can tell you, but I have been more intense since I got diagnosed with cancer. And I made that big promise to the Lord that even if I die poor, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. All right. So all right, let's go then. I'm trusting that you were able to take your pens and paper, right? All right. So the topics we're going to do today to just finish off our housekeeping is meal planning and shopping, sources where you can find your nutrients in your herbs and your foods, how to count your calories. I had intended fasting, but we're not going to get to it today, right? Okay. So let's move into it now. When we are planning our meals, remember now we are switching from a meat-based diet to a plant-based, a whole food plant-based diet. And not all plant-based diets are whole food diets, right? So you have to be very focused and be aware of that. And no, it's not difficult. That is the comment I get all the time. It's very difficult because you don't know how to do it. No, whole food is having your food in a natural or as close to a natural state as possible. That's what whole food is. Having your food if the Lord made the yam, have the yam in as whole a state as possible, meaning you steam the yam or you roast the yam or something like that. But not when they have processed it and added some chemicals to it and taken away something from it, so that you alter the natural state of whatever it is that God has designed, right? Okay. So planning our meals and doing our shopping, we have to become savvy with our shopping, and we have to become savvy with planning our meals. All right. Here are some of the things that we must consider when we're planning our meals as vegans. What exactly? What are the reasons for this? Why do I really want to be a vegan? Why do I want to be a vegan? I could sit here, Ellerine could sit here and give you 150 reasons why you should, ending with the most important and profound one, that is the ideal diet that God intends for his people, so that we can clean and keep our temples healthy. But putting that aside, what are the other reasons you have? Some people do it because it's hip. It's one of the fashionable things to say you're vegan. Oh my goodness, don't you know that? But sometimes it's fashionable, and what do? We starve ourselves and we kill ourselves. And you may want to say, oh, I want to lose weight, which is listen, vegan diet is one of the most effective diets if you are thinking about managing your weight. But here's the thing. There are lots of people who are unhealthy vegans, right? So they cook with a whole heap of oil, cook with a whole heap of salt. They have to fry their food. They eat a whole heap of carbs. They eat a whole heap of sugar. They eat a whole heap of fat. So those things are not, those things take away from the beauty of experiencing a vegan, wholesome food diet, right? As a matter of fact, a lot of people, they have to fry foods. Let me tell you something, friends. You don't have to fry foods. And if you're using your food, all you have to do is use a little coconut milk, or use a little ground flax seed, and you get all the fat that you need in your food. You don't need to put a gallon of oil to fry foods. You don't need that. And really, when you're planning your meals, plan them around more baking, more steaming, more boiling than frying. All right. Now, think about the beneficial tools. What are some of the things that I'm going to need in my kitchen that is going to enhance my experience? So, every single vegan, you need your juicer, you need your blender, you need some good cutting knives. Well, I can tell you about knives. I love knives like crazy. I can't get over it. I love knives, and everywhere I go, I see pretty knives and sharp knives and this, that. I have to. I'm telling you, my house is full of knives. I'm telling you, really. But I mean, different knives give you a different experience when you're cutting. And if you have any understanding of what it is to be a chef in the kitchen, your knife is a very important tool. And you have to have good knives that you're comfortable with, because you are slicing, you are dicing, you're doing all kinds of other fancy things. And if you're as old-fashioned as I am, I have all the equipment you can consider in the kitchen. But here's the thing. I like to do it the old-fashioned way, the simple way, right? So look at some of the beneficial tools so that your experience will be a happy and enjoyable one, right? And it's exciting when you're using your new equipment so that you can get through your meal, right? What about my cravings? People always ask me. So, all right, I have a craving for this. What about those? What do I do with those? Well, here's the thing. Fasting is one of the things as a vegan that helps you with your cravings. And we looked at alternatives. All you have to do is learn the alternatives. And let me tell you, it's not going to be easy starting out as a vegan because you have to learn a lot. And secondly, let me tell you something else about managing cravings. Just as it is by managing bad habits, it's the same thing. You have to focus on what God really expects of you. And you have to optimize all those things that are going to enhance your experience. So you have a positive experience and you think about, first and foremost, why did I get into this? If you think about why you really got into it, what are the benefits that you really want to derive, then all those things will help you to manage your cravings. And also we can look at, if we're talking about managing our cravings, we can also look at how we can use our journal to manage our cravings, right? And that is something that we can do. When we meet face to face, you can probably jot that down and I'll show you how to do that again, right? Now, when you're being a vegan, does portion matter? Does portion matter? Absolutely, it does. Because as a vegan, remember now, you have to balance everything. And like I said last time, if you're having your meal, if you're going to have, you're going to have your vegetables, your meat, and your vegetables, your protein, your carbs. The plate that you're having should have 25% or more of your vegetables, 25% of protein. Sorry, of the carbs, 25% of protein, and 50% of your plate should be vegetables, right? So if you're going to have if you're going to have rice, your rice should only be about 20 to 25% of the plate. These days, when you go out and people are having a meal, I have never seen this in my life. You go out and people, they're serving you rice and peas or rice and chicken or whatever, and the plate is 60% rice, 5% vegetables, and about another 30 or 40% of a big half a chicken. Now that is the most unhealthy thing to have. Everything has to be in balance, rhythms, balance, right? So in the same way that they say your body has to be in rhythm and balance, in the same way you have to do when you're planning your meals, because remember, they always say garbage in, garbage out. All right. So portions really do matter. You just need enough of, and when we get to that again, we will talk. How much of what will I accept? What will I accept when I'm planning my meals? Do I want to be compromising? Do I want to go halfway? Do I want to go full vegan or lacto-ovo? And remember, I told you last time, lacto-ovo is somebody that has cheese and egg. How far do I really want to go with this thing? Do I want to go all the way? Or do I want to just go halfway? Do I want to go just start the ball rolling and that kind of thing? You have to decide when you're planning your meals, am I going to do the entire full force or am I going to stop? And finally, and the most important, when I'm planning my meal and I'm shopping for my meals, would my Heavenly Father approve of what I'm putting on my plate? I'm putting on my family's plate and what I'm putting into the temple, into this holy temple here that is walking around here, right? So these are things to consider. I'm sure there are tons more, but these are the ones that are, I believe, a comprehensive list that will help you on your journey. All right. Now, where do I find when I'm shopping and I'm planning my meals? Here are some of the things that we look at, that you look at when you're shopping as a vegan. Look at your hello. Okay. So you look at look at your produce. So for your vegetables, there's a list that I have there, and your list goes on because in the list of vegetables, you notice there are tons and tons of them. And if you notice too, there are a lot of greens in your vegetables, right? And tubers, the tubers and vegetables, potatoes, yam, that kind of thing. Okay. These are some of the things that you shop for as a vegan, and you stock up on in your store, in your refrigerator. Now you might also want to look at, when you look at the vegetables, you want to look at some starch too. And some starch, you can look at couscous, you can look at quinoa, you can look at millet, you can look at things like chickpea, but we'll get to that. Some of the fruits, these are some of the fruits. We have lots of fruits in Jamaica, and fruits that you don't have to spray in order for us to enjoy them. You don't have to spray mangoes and gooseberry and them kind of thing, and pomegranate and pine and papaya. We don't have to spray them, and we can enjoy them. And by the way, star apple is an awesome, awesome fruit. You would never believe. I have been living in Jamaica for almost 60 years, and except of course for the few little years that I was not here. But I had star apple for the first time in my life last week, Thursday. And I love it, absolutely love it. I tell you. So, and listen, I am on a mission now to find out all about the nutritional value of star apple. And it's a beauty, star apple is a beautiful, beautiful, nutritious fruit. So all of these things, you have to look and plan. Remember now, you have to look at it, you have to plan it, because you have to look at the needs of your body at the same time, right? Whole grains. As a vegan, when you're shopping, this is a list. Barley, brown rice, buckwheat. I use a lot of buckwheat at the office, and a lot of bulgur. These are high fiber and they are rich in antioxidants. And I use these things to make a lot of other things, and I use buckwheat to make a lot of bread and flatbreads and stuff. Now, couscous is also very, very, very nutritious. It's very easy to prepare, because it's one of those things that comes pre-cooked. So all you do is just pour some hot water on it and leave it, let it go on doing its thing. Millet, now, some of the whole grains, millet, oatmeal, and a lot of these. If you notice, every single one of these grains, you don't necessarily have to use it for starch as an accompaniment to your meal. Every single one of these can provide you with breakfast in the morning. From the bottom to the top, you can use every single one of them for your breakfast cereal. You understand? And all you need to do is to add your nut milk. Warm your nut milk, and perhaps cook them in there, or some of them you don't need to cook them extensively, but you just cook them in your warm milk. And if you want to add a little cinnamon, a little nutmeg, a little vanilla, and your sweetener of choice, and every single one of these. And that's the beauty about being a vegan, and the beauty about eating according to the whole food plan that God designed for us. You don't have to. Some people will say, oh, I can't eat yam. I can't eat yam unless it's for dinner. Give me a break. You need yam in the morning, because you can eat yam in the morning. You can eat the yam in the lunchtime. At any point in time, you can have these things, because they are interchangeable, right? Breads and pastas. These are some of the things that you do. And if you don't know how to do pasta, we will do it. This is one of the things I'd love to do when we have our cooking classes. So you can make your own pasta at home, and you can make all different types. You can make spinach pasta, you can make beetroot pasta, you can make curry pasta, you can make almost anything. I love sweet potato pasta, and I hope there's somebody else that loves sweet potato too. And you can use them to make all kinds of things, right? You can sprout your beans. Remember last time we talked about sprouting? And I'd like for you, as you enter on your journey of being a vegan, to also appreciate the values of sprouting your beans. Because here's the thing, a lot of people say they get puffy when they have beans. Here's the way to get rid of that. Just sprout your beans, soak your beans before you cook it, and that will help you to get rid of some of the gas, and as they say you have, right? Common language. And then also sprout some of your beans and use the sprouted beans, right? You can cook it, because what happens is that it makes something called probiotics when you do these things. All right. And these are things that help your digestive process, makes food easier to be digested, and all of that and prevent you from getting all gassy and so forth. Right. So this is something to consider when you're looking at your grains and stuff like that, and peas and beans, right? And so the breads, though, you can make pancakes, flatbreads. We make a lot of flatbreads and waffles and all them things. And donuts. I absolutely love making donuts and bagels. They are crazy delicious. And I absolutely love to make sprouted bread. I love to make apple bread. These are fantastic. Let me tell you, these are absolutely fantastic. Okay. And some of these things we can go through when we get together. All right. I hope we have time. Okay. All right. But as a vegan, these are the things you are to consider. Remember, your food ought to build you. That's one of the reasons why you eat. It ought to preserve your body. It ought to build your body, and it ought to heal your body. That is what your food is meant to do. If you are eating foods that are destroying your body, taking away from the beauty of the temple, then those foods are not to be consumed at all. Yeah? All right. Your proteins now. Excuse me. Your proteins. And this is very important. As you know, in your diet, your best sources, nuts, seeds, legumes, soy products, and protein powders. Protein powders you can use for your breakfast. You can use them in your baking. You can use them in your pastries. You can also use them generally in your meals. And for some people and your soups, for some people who are not a fan of having heavy meals sometimes, and sometimes you just want to relax your digestive process, just have a liquid meal. And having liquid meals will include a lot of protein powders, right? So you have brown rice proteins, you have hemp protein, soy protein. Those things are very useful for the body, and they provide some of the minerals and the vitamins and some of the rare nutrients that you really need to keep your body healthy. And remember now, if there are a lot of people will tell you the story that all of these things is meat. You can't get some of these things that if you don't eat meat. Give me a break, right? I believe in the master plan, and I believe that what he designed is the perfect plan. And so whatever else that man has designed is secondary to what the master has designed, right? So everything that you need, he has provided in the fruits, the grains, the seeds, the herbs, the plants. Okay. All right. So looking at the list of your proteins, you have nuts, nuts and seeds, chia seeds. And let me tell you, chia, flax, sesame, sunflower, all those, they are high. They are absolutely high in protein, right? You can use any one of these seeds to make a meatloaf. Any one of these seeds you can use to make something that looks like a chicken breast. All of these, right? I'm sorry. Your legumes, of course, your peas and beans. My personal favorite legumes are, I love gungo peas and I love lentils. Oh my, I had lentils twice. That is to tell you how important it is. I love gungo peas and I love lentils. And I'm telling you. Now, soy products. A lot of people will tell you a lot of things about soybeans, right? I hear the story going up and up and up. But here's the thing. Soybean and gungo peas and lentil beans are the three beans that are a complete, right? And the antioxidants, among other things that you get from just the soybeans. I went to be treated for cancer, and I was fed with soy milk and all those kind of things. And a lot of people will tell you, oh, soy called cancer. Give me a break. I won't get into that discussion today, though. Please So if you have that comment, I will not get into that discussion, okay? I'm only going to get into the discussion to say it is very important as a vegan, and it's also very versatile and very nutritious, all right? I mentioned protein powders before, and you can make all of these things at home. You can make your soy curls, you can make your gluten, you can make all of your tempeh, you can make everything at home. And these, all of these, the protein powders too, you can make them at home. I don't know if we'll have time to do it when we get together, but all of these things you can make in your own home. All right. All right. Some dairy substitutes now that you would have to consider as a vegan. Your milk substitutes, right? You're looking at the list, I hope. Almond, cashew, coconut, flax, oats. And oat milk is very delightful. And let me tell you something else. It is versatile and it is the lowest, absolute lowest, almost 0 calories. So if you are going to really switch, I love all the other milks, especially coconut. Give me a break. I love coconut, but I know that I have to taper it down because also the fat I'm trying to run from. But every single thing I'm cooking with, I use coconut milk because I don't use oil, right? If I'm at home, I don't use more than a teaspoon of oil in there. If I'm when I'm cooking at the store, salt and oil, I do not put in the food. I use coconut to do everything that I do, right? So, and it's the healthier way to do, or I use other nut milks, right? So you can use soy milk, almond milk, any other milk, right? So oat milk, though, as I said, oat and rice milk, they have almost no calories. So if you want to really get on to 0 calorie and low calorie milk, nut milk, milk substitute, I mean, you can look at those two. Yogurt substitutes, and by the way, soy milk and oat milk and coconut milk, they make delightful yogurts. I make my yogurts and I tell you, it's absolutely crazy. So I'll teach you how to make those things. I think I might have a recipe on here. But yogurt substitutes, and it's good, people, to have, friends, it's good to have yogurt in your diet as a vegan. Why? It helps you to keep the probiotics, and it helps also your digestive system. Because listen, when you use yogurt, it helps to remove the bad bacteria from the digestive system, and then it introduces good bacteria and enhances the ones that are already there. And what happens to that now? It gives you a great absorption of your nutrients, and it also helps to work with the digestive process. And listen, if your food is not digesting properly, then you know, without me having to tell you, that it's not going to work out very well for you, right? And of course, you have the dairy substitutes, which are vegan cheeses that we make so many of at Eden Joy. We make all kinds of cheeses that are way far away from animals, because we believe that we love the animals and we must not eat them and we must not use them to put on our plates, right? So we make about approximately 13 different types of vegan cheeses that you can buy, you can actually purchase at Eden Joy, right? But I can show you how to make some of them again. All right. I'm not sure who was doing the timekeeping for me. Please let me know when we get down to 30 minutes.
I'm doing
Are
it.
we at 30 minutes?
You have 4 minutes left.
All right, so I think I wonder if I can slow down here. All right, let us look at the carbs now. If you want to have some tubers, these are the best things. The Lord has his own hands. He has made them, and he put them under the ground there, literally. Yam, potato, the flour, unbleached flour. If you're going to have flour, have unbleached flour, right? So the flour, that is where they just grind they either grind the wheat berry itself, or there's another part of the berry, that the wheat berry, that they grind and they sift. So you get two things. You get the flour and you get the bran, which is also very good for, you've heard of wheat bran, and the wheat germ, which is the little bit, that little tiny piece where the entire plant will come from the seed, and all of those are essential. So when you are when you're converting to a vegan diet, ensure that you look for things like wheat germ, bran, stuff like those, right? Also look for foods that are rich in your omegas. And as I mentioned last time, B12 and vitamin D. Well, we live in Jamaica. All you have to do is 30 minutes every morning. You get your sufficient amount of vitamin D. But your B12, you can get it from your cereals, your supplemented cereals, and you can also get it from your seaweeds and especially your nutritional yeast. And you need that as a vegan, because a lot of vegans usually get into problems because they lack B12, right? Now, a lot of people don't like turnips, but let me tell you, turnips, they are absolutely good for you. It's a brain food. It's great for your nervous system, and it's also very low in calories. I always like those foods. Anytime they say low in calories, that's my thing. So it's a little bit about, don't worry about that. All the good things always have that, you know. The cocoa. Cocoa is very high in starch, as you know, so you have to be minimal with it. But these, if you're going to enjoy a whole food diet, these are some of the things that you have to put in your diet. That when you're shopping, planning your meals, you have to do that. And by the way, none of these tubers, you don't need more than 3 ounces of any of these tubers at your meal. 3 to 4 ounces. For example, if you're having something like pasta, you an individual, you're allowed to have up to 6 ounces, right? Because you are going to have, if you're having, say, lasagna, and you have one of the a flat sheet, you don't need more. If you're having the lasagna noodles, you don't need more than 2 ounces, right? 2 to 3 ounces, which is, listen, when you cook 1 sheet, you still don't get there, right? So, but the point I'm making is you have to be minimal with the carbs, especially if you're considering keeping your body healthy and staying away from fat, right? All right. Egg substitutes. I think I mentioned a few of those last week, but nevertheless, I've set out a list here for you that you have to be mindful of when you're becoming a vegan. Some of them are great for baking. Some of them are great if you're making icing and if you're making pastry. Some of them are great if you are just making a quiche, or if you're trying to make something like an omelet, or if you're making something like fried egg. Well, fried egg meaning vegan egg, meaning, thank you. All right. Meaning, all right, give me a minute. Meaning that a vegan egg, that is, we can make, and I'll show you how to make your fried egg from plants, from nuts and seeds and peas, right? So all of these, you look at them basically when you're considering it, right? And if you have a problem learning how to use them, then give me a call. All right. We have good fats. I know our 30 minutes are gone, but let me look at this first. Good fats. You have the avocados. Listen, I just went to Manchester and I'm coming up this morning and I realized that the pear season is coming in. And let me tell you, when it's pear season, I let go, because you can make so many things with avocado. Guacamole is one of my favorites, and I always have guacamole. Well, my raw flaxseed crackers. Oh, they are delicious. I'm telling you. And so these are good. This list is a good part. The tahini is really a sesame seed paste, and it's delicious. It's delightful, and it adds so much body and depth and flavor to the food when you add it. And if you're going to add it, you don't even have to add oil to your food, right? So that's a whole list of good fats that you need. Snacks, it's just these are the things that you look at more for snacks, right? And some of these you might have to make on your own, but it's always better. It's always better. Or if you have a trusted source, somebody who you can trust to make these things for you, then that's a much better thing. All right. Okay. So, all right. So let me take some of the comments now and some of the comments. All right. I'll take your comments. I'll follow the chat. Come on. All right. Chat. Oh, there's nobody talking in the chat. All right. That's all right. I can listen.
Or anybody has any questions can go ahead and ask. I guess there's no question as yet.
All right. Seems it's one of two things. You're enjoying it on your understanding and appreciating, or you're thinking about it. So we will run along then. All right. So snacks, as I said before, carob chips. A lot of people are a little taken aback when I introduce carob chips to them. Carob chips is, you will not miss chocolate. And remember, chocolate, you can't have chocolate. It's high in fat, and it's not even good fat, and it's high also. You get a whole heap of calories from it, and it's high in caffeine. It's just like coffee. If you're going to have chocolate, you might as well have a cup of coffee. So, you know, so these, as a vegan, you have to just think about these things, right? And the best things now to have are things like dried fruits and making nut butters and those kind of things, roasted beans and nuts and stuff. Oat bars and trail mixes, those are great for you to pass the time on. I love pita chips are great, and they're also very nice with your guacamole. That's awesome, awesome. And listen, it's also very nice. Pita chips are great with hummus. Oh, and I'm not talking about the regular hummus where it's tasteless, it's flavorless. No, I'm talking about hummus that is made with lots of garlic and basil and oregano and thyme. Oh, it's delicious. It's delicious. We just can't talk enough about that. All right. Okay, so let's run along then. Oh, I see a message in the chat here. I'm enjoying it. Well, thank you. I'm enjoying myself too, okay? All right, so, all right, let's go then. Sweeteners. Now, your sweeteners, now this is very important because here's the thing. You want to have sweeteners in your diet that are low in calories, right? Remember now, you also aim to have your body always in an alkaline state. And sweeteners are some of the things that can make your body fermented and acidic and put you at risk for a whole lot of other complicated diseases, such as cancer, the big C. Most people don't want to hear that, but it, unfortunately, that's what it does. So things like real sugar, you see that sugar, our sugar, despite the fact that sugar is so riddled into our history and our culture, incidentally, if we go overboard on sugar, we are going to get into problems. We also have to be careful of sodas and all those things, carbonated, sugary drinks. Those things are crazy. Now, coconut sugar is absolutely, I love the flavor. It has an earthy flavor and it's not very sweet. It's not very sweet, right? And the funny thing is, coconut sugar is also, so coconut sugar also has, molasses is also added when they are making coconut sugar. So it's very delightful, but everything you have to use in moderation. But these are some of the sweeteners. Coconut sugar, I use coconut sugar a lot. I love it actually. And I use, when I say a lot, I mean, that's what I try to have at least a serving for the day. I try to stay away from the sugar thing. I use, sometimes when I'm making vegetables, when I cook, I use a a teaspoon or less, just to sort of give the it's actually one of the sweeteners that really doesn't make your vegetables all stuck together, right? But you don't need an enormous lot of it, right? So coconut sugar instead of the real processed brown sugar and white sugar. White sugar is a painful reminder of where the Lord does not want us to go, because white sugar, they use bone char from the cows and the pigs to use it to whiten the white sugar. So you have to be very careful of that. And if you are going to be making your icing, your icing and all that, I can teach you another time. Well, boy, there's so many things I'd like to teach you, but I hope the 4 hours when we get there, we'll be able to work. Dates are delightful. If you're even making your porridge, you don't need to blend more than 1, because it gives you a certain, and it has a delicate, soft flavor, the dates, right? So you don't need to use an enormous lot. And by the way, it is also high in fiber. And you also want to keep your food as natural as possible so that you preserve the fiber, right? Maple syrup, depending on who makes it for you, they will put a whole heap of sugar in there and then they boil it down into a syrup. No. Some people will just boil down the sap, and it will not be as sweet, and you'll have different quality levels. So you have the A grade, the B grade, the C grade. But the end result is that it will be very low in calorie. All right. So molasses, as usual, you know, I always talk about molasses. Molasses is also high in iodine, right? And everything you have to use in moderation. But molasses is one of those things you can actually have it daily, and it's not one of those. And it also, as I said before, supports the entire endocrine system. Monk fruit, although we don't have it here, that is really from the Asian countries, but it's exceptionally sweet, just like the stevia. And by the way, let me tell you a story. Stevia is about 100, I'm told, it is about 150 times sweeter than sugar, but it is very low in calorie, and it comes from just the plant of the leaves of the stevia plant. Honey, you have to be very, very light. Honey is okay. Some people, I understand these days, are saying that they don't want honey because it is made by the animal. No, I am not either going to get into that discussion. That is in an individual's own perception, and they can deal with that how they like. But from my perspective, I do not condemn the use of honey, because my Bible refers to the use of honey. And if you recall, the honey made up a portion of the diet of a lot of the prophets and the men of old. And the Bible talks about milk and honey. We're going to go to heaven to drink milk and honey. Let me tell you. So I don't have any kind of hesitation about using honey. My only hesitation is when honey gets into your body, gets converted into a simple sugar, and that may be a problem. So if you have to use honey, use it sparingly, just like every other sweetener. But these are some of the sweeteners that are vegan. By the way, listen, you can use sugar if you want, but my recommendation is the less sugar you use, the better it will be for you. All right? Okay? Spices and condiments. That is my thing. I love to do herbs. I love to use herbs and stuff in my food. So this is a list I can't go through, but I'll pick out a few. Now, nutritional yeast. This is a seaweed. And if you can use in your soups, you can add the Irish moss, because that is a seaweed, and it is, I tell you, you have not you can Google the components of Irish moss or sea moss, and you will understand what I'm talking about. Nutritional yeast is just an extract from it, because it's a dried portion. There's a portion of the Irish mash that they dry and then they powder, right? That is what you get nutritional yeast. And nutritional yeast has a beautiful taste, a beautiful flavor. And whatever you put it into, it gives you that. I don't know if you've heard of the umami. That's the umami, and it's not a bad umami either. It's a good one, right? So it's like having mushrooms. I eat mushroom every day. I try to have a serving of mushrooms every day, even if I don't serve it to others, because it is something that preserves the good cells, and it also helps to things like cancer and those bad cells in your body. The mushroom is one of those things that helps to just hold it together and squeeze out the life out of it so it doesn't grow anymore, right? So I like to keep things like nutritional yeast. Ginger is one of the things. It's very healthy, and every single pot that I cook in my kitchen, I have to put a little ginger in it, right? Things like rosemary and cloves. Those things are great for people who are looking at the problems with cardiovascular systems, people who are trying to prevent or preserve their bodies after cancer, stuff like that. Oregano, turmeric, not to mention turmeric. There is an ingredient, a component in the turmeric called curcumin, and that is the thing that it is so potent. I am told it is 100 times more effective than if you were to use chemotherapy. But no, I'm not telling you not to use chemotherapy if you get into that kind of thing, right? And then, of course, oregano, basil, and mustard, those things are exceptional for body preservation and for development of good cells. All right. All right. So here are some notes now in meal planning. Many vegan processed foods are really not healthy. I told you that before. Some people are unhealthy vegans. We want to stay in the branch that says healthy vegans. Yes? No. As if when you turn the corner, make sure you read all your labels for chemicals, for flavor enhancers, for preservatives, and for nutrient content. There's no point in you eating foods with that are empty. And there's no point in you eating foods that are high in chemicals and preservatives and flavor enhancers. Flavor enhancers are things like MSG, right? And MSG has a very negative effect on your body, especially your joints. And high chemicals too in your food, that you want to have whole foods, right? Now pay attention to the added salt content. If you have to use salt, use things like pink Himalayan salt, black salt, or iodized sea salt, okay? Because really, in addition to adding a little flavor, the salt adds a little flavor. You want to look at the nutrition too. You don't want too much salt in your food. The beautiful thing about the black salt and the pink salt is that and the pink Himalayan salt is that you also get a high content of, it is also very balanced with sulfur. And when just putting them in your food, you can smell it from a mile away, right? And it just gives the saltiness of it. It just gives you a beautiful, mild, soft, salty flavor. All right. Okay. Now choose consistency in your meal planning. Don't be all over the place with planning your meals. You do it simple. Do it simply. Use wholesome foods. Don't buy too many of the expensive things. Do things that use things in your meal planning that you can always find around, and that your body, look here, let me tell you something about this. Consistency, your body moves in rhythm, right? And you put things in your body gets accustomed to it, right? And your body grows to it and learns it. It's like us when we go into school. We have to be consistent. It's like sleeping at night. When you go to rest, try to be consistent with the times you go to bed. When you're having your breakfast, try to be consistent with the times that you have your breakfast and what you have for your breakfast, that kind of thing. Because your body moves in rhythm and you're actually training your body with everything that you put in there, okay? Keep in mind the sources of nutrients. Make sure that whatever, when you're planning, when you have your meal planning, whatever you're planning, you plan for your food to grow, make you grow and develop, right? And you also plan to ensure that your food heals your body. Yes. And you also, when you're having your food, you're also not just thinking about satisfying your hunger, right? There are other needs that you can't see, that are deep within, and these other needs are completely dependent on what you put in there to satisfy them, right? Many vegans and vegetarians, as I said before, are low in B12 and vitamin D. We can satisfy that. Use your seaweeds, your spirulina, your sea moss, and your nutritional yeast, okay? You can also get them from your fortified cereals, like they have some oatmeal, some granolas and stuff like that, and they are fortified with B12. Fermented foods help to provide B12 from the probiotics they provide. That is why I mentioned earlier that yogurts, they are good to have, right? You can have your yogurt with your cereals. You can have it in your bread baking. You can have it in your pastries. You can even have it in your food generally, even in your soups. Just put in a little. You get your vitamin B12, or you get fermented foods like sauerkraut, kombucha, kimchi. But remember now, there's fermenting and there's fermenting. You have fermenting so you can build probiotics for your body. And you have fermenting for alcohol production, which is like getting things like vinegar and things like getting white rum and all them kind of things, and liquor. You don't need those, right? You need them. You need just those that you can use. That you can use salt as a starter, or you can use your things like your aquafaba, or you can use things like your bean waters and stuff like that. All right, I'll remember that soon. But suffice it to say, you need the fermented foods that will help to develop the probiotic in your food, right? And make sure, I always emphasize this, make sure your food is as close to natural in its wholesome state as possible. That's how God intended, right? Raw nuts and nut butters, unblanched and unroasted, are good sources of iron, fiber, magnesium, zinc, selenium, and vitamin E. And these, remember, we're talking about sources too, right? Seeds such as hemp, chia, and flax seeds are great sources of omega-3 fatty acids, and also omega-6 and 9, which we need constantly, right? Plant milks and proteins that are fortified with calcium will help vegans to achieve their daily dietary intakes. And look, if you have, sometimes the nut milks that you have, what you buy commercially, they are not some are fortified, some are not. You now have to read your labels to see which of them are fortified, because you also need your calcium for the healthy bones and all that, and teeth and stuff like that. When you get into old age, you won't have to be wearing braces like myself, right? All right, so sea algae and sea moss, remember I told you earlier, spirulina. By the way, spirulina is called green algae and chlorella is called blue algae. So if you go anywhere and you see those names, you know exactly what you're talking about. Remember, Sister Price told you. Sea algae is actually Irish moss, and spirulina and chlorella, and it's blue algae and white algae and green algae, right? And of course, this is a very important thing, because this was actually done by an Adventist research institution. And I know a lot of people, places like Mayo Clinic, and I really trust and respect them. And there's another thing called the Healthline Research, and these are vegan research institutions. And this research says studies have shown that vegans have a higher risk of having insufficient blood levels of vitamin B12, D, long chain omega-3, we won't get into that. But suffice it to say, iodine, iron, calcium, and other minerals such as zinc, right? Limiting processed foods in your diet will help you to maximize the absorption of nutrients, because a lot of times when the foods are processed heavily, they are bleached. And so all that you're eating is empty food. Everything is gone out of it. You need wholesome, balanced food. And the closer to natural you have your food, is the better it will be for you, because you are getting the food originally, naturally, and from the source. All right. Now, vegans can enhance the absorption of zinc and iodine by sprouting your foods. I mentioned that before. Sprouting. All right. It develops the probiotic and all that kind of thing. And by the way, the probiotics will help you to absorb some of the minerals that your body needs on a daily basis, right? I spoke about coffee. There are lots of teas that we're having, absorbing in our body, are putting into our bodies, but they are not good for us. So when we ingest things like, a lot of people talk about green tea, but here's what. Green tea is high in caffeine. It has a lot of other health benefits, but it's high in caffeine. Coffee is also high in caffeine, and that's not what the Lord wants us to put in our temple. All right. And also it prevents the absorption of a lot of the nutrients that we need, right? Supplements sometimes are useful if you are not getting the right kind of things. But here's the thing, friends. If you are eating as God intended and you're not being negligent with your diet, you will not need supplements. Okay? All right. Now, I won't go through this too much. This is just, I actually use this as a note. If I'm going to go through this, this is going to take me a whole day. But anyway, I was just looking at some of the supplements that are possible for you to have if you are a little insufficient. But it doesn't mean that you must have these every single day. If you find that you're low, then you can boost yourself up, right? Boost yourself up a little bit, balance yourself, and then you get back to your food for the source. All right. Now, things like iron. A lot of people, sometimes you're lacking in iron, but you can get it from your food. If you find that you're lacking in iron, you supplement it 14 to 28 days. After that, you get back to your natural sources of iron and stay on it, right? These are not things that you should have, especially in pregnancy and those things. If you will need to have these things, but try as very much as possible to balance yourselves and get back to the natural state, right? Things like iodine, you must always make sure that you have iodine, iron, B12, zinc, stuff like that in your diet. Because what will happen is that they will, if you don't have them, you will end up with greater problems. All right. All right. So here's a bonus. The bonus is that I made a meal plan for you for a week. A 7 days meal plan, 7-day meal plan for wellness and weight management. I don't know if you want to screenshot them, but this is a great one for you to have, because it can guide you through the day, you know, helping you. And of course, you can mix and match them when you want. All right, so Monday, I think it's self-explanatory, right? And this is designed to keep you well and also to keep you having whole foods, and also to keep you having to keep you, sorry, to keep you managing your weight. All right. What would you prefer if I did send them to you?
You can also do that. Sure.
All right. If you, I don't know if people would like to write it, but if not, there may be things on there that you might need to send me a note or so to ask me how to make it and so on. By the way, I'm making sure that I sort out the book for you. I have a small one, but I also have the large one with a lot of these things that you will learn and teach you how to do it. But that book is probably about 600 pages, and so I'm kind of working on it to make sure you have. It has different segments, so it will teach you how to make breads, how to make desserts, how to make liquid meals, how to make cleanses, how to make raw food, how to make entrees, how to make breakfast items, just to start you out as a vegan. And if you follow this book for a while, you won't need anything else, really. And this is how the book is. So I'm working on it. So I will let you know when I'm there, right? Okay. So we go down to okay. So we're once we're done with the bonus, I'm gonna send it to you, Sister Gillian, and you can perhaps make it available to the individuals. Yes.
Okay. You can go back to Wednesday first. Let me just check something, please.
Wednesday. You said Wednesday, right?
Yeah, man. Thanks.
All right.
You're saying that we need to know how to cook them.
Yeah, a lot of these little things, but let me tell you what, you see this exact thing, I want you to keep it so that when we get together on that day, I can show you personally, but you can always send me a note, and I'll just tell you how to do it. You understand? The beauty about vegetarian food is that you don't have to go crazy about how to do it. You don't have to go crazy about cooking restaurant style. You understand? You just want to make sure that it's healthy and balanced, and it's not oily and high salt and all the other crazy things. Because what you really need is digestible food that is wholesome and balanced, right? Okay. So Thursday, all right. Did you get Thursday? You said Thursday, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. If you notice one, I'll give you a list of snacks that you can have. These are things that snacks. I mean, I love mango salsa. I don't know how many people do, but I just absolutely love mango salsa. And seaweed chips is really just seaweed chips is just Irish mash and flaxseed together, and you just dry them and make them into chips. But you know, all these things, as I said before, we make them at the office. So if you want to, you can get them there, or you can order them there, or we can teach you how to make them. That's how it goes. Anything that's on here, it is either sold at Eat and Joy, or we can make them, or we can teach you how to make them, right? So it's easy. All right, I want to finish the bonus so that I can go and look at what the chat says. All right, let me go through the chat. All right, you need to know how to cook them. Of course you will know how to cook them. I will let you know. I love my mango salsa. Somebody likes it. All right, let me see. All right, I'll send them to you. I'm not sure. Somebody said, when will the books be ready? I'm working on it now. I've given myself a couple of weeks. I don't want to kind of get too stressed in it. I want to put my all into it and do it well, right? So I work on it literally at least 4 times a week to make sure that I get the things together. And I'm not putting any new recipes in it because I don't want to start over. Today, doctor told me that I should make available the first one. That is the simple one, which is about 100 pages. I should make that available, and then you can wait for the big one. But the big one gives you every single thing. right? If you get that book, you don't need to do anything else to learn how to read. You just use the techniques in there, right? No, the moringa plants, I know, I am told the leaves you can have, but here's the thing. I have not studied the moringa plant enough to find out in terms of what's edible. But in terms of the benefit, they have a lot of medical benefits. Things like nervous system, things like building your immune system. It's loaded with antioxidants. It's also high. It also is high in protein. So we have a lot of benefits and stuff like that that we can get, and from the moringa plant, phosphorus and all that kind of thing. I'm told that things like phosphorus and there are some other minerals that I'm not remembering now. But suffice it to say, the moringa plant has been one of the most amazing plants that we have right here in our country that we have not explored sufficiently, right? But the plants and the seeds, you can also use the seeds as a snack. You know, when you take the seed and you when you bite it, you have, it kind of gives you a little sting, and then at the end, but it's full of antioxidants. It pumps your immune system to a level that you would not even be able to imagine. And also, one of the things about the moringa plant is that it helps to control cravings. So if you want to chew on the seeds, things like using the seeds, it helps you to control your cravings, right? You know, what is fruit leather? Now, fruit leather is really when you mix the fruit in with as little juice as possible, then you dehydrate it. If you don't have a dehydrator, you do it in the oven. Just dehydrate it and you cut it into strips, and that's your little fruit leather, right? Thank you for you're enjoying the program. Thank you very much. There's a new message, I understand. Somebody else said, yes, I think I addressed the moringa plant issue. All right, so let's move on then, okay? All right, calorie counting now. This may be a little, what you call it, over the top when it comes to the calculations, but there are doctors in this group. Sister Gillian is one that can also help you if you don't understand and you can't reach me, right? So here is how we're going to look at the calorie counting. Determine your resting energy expenditure and your non-resting energy expenditure, right? And your resting energy expenditure refers to the number of calories you burn when you are resting. The non-resting energy indicates the calories that you burn during your activity and your digestion, right? So the REE plus the NREE is equal to your total daily energy expenditure, which is your TDEE, right? And that is the total number of calories that you burn. Now we're going to look at the calculator, right? Now, when I was studying nutrition, one of the profound equations and calorie calculators that they use is what they call the Mifflin St. George, right? Sorry, the Mifflin St. George calorie calculator, right? So let's move on. So let's go through Mifflin George, right? For men, and this is a little math class, it may seem a little over the top, but just patiently go through it. It's not difficult. For men, the calories per day is equal to 10 times your weight, you're in kg, plus 6.25 centimeters times your height. And then you minus 5 times your age. I think I have to send them to you, right? because these will take us the rest of the time to go through, right? But for the women now, of course, you know, we are always seeming to be on the heavier side. Calories per day, and you know, sometimes you need 2,000 calories per day or 2,005, depending on whether you're sedentary or not. So it's calories per day equal 10 times your weight in kg plus 6.25 times your height minus 5 times your age, that is the years, right? And that will give you the calories that you need according to Mifflin. And this is one of the most accurate of the equations, the calorie calculators that you use, right? This is also used by Mayo. It is also used by Healthline and so forth. So now, multiply your results by an activity factor, which is, the activity factor is whether the different levels of activity that you have. If you're sedentary, if you're moderate, if you're extra active, that kind of thing. So sedentary is times 1.2, right? After you get all of that, okay? Your very active is 1.9, meaning if you do a whole heap of things. Moderate is 1.55 most days of the week, right? And this is what you use to calculate the okay. I think I tried my utmost best to write out the men and women, and to write this out in a very simple fashion. I think it's really straightforward, right? Okay. All right, so the macronutrient breakdown now. When you have determined the total daily calories, decide what macronutrient ratio will be best for you. Macronutrient recommendations typically are as follows. For carbs, you need 25 to 30% of your total calories. For fats, you need 20 to 35% of your total calories. And remember now, you are on depending on your level of activity, you will be at either at the lower spectrum or the higher spectrum, right? And your proteins is 10 to 25% of your total calories. Now, these days they have these diet plans where they tell you that you have to have an enormous lot of fat and protein and a very little carbs or vegetables. That is absolute madness. I don't know, and I won't get into it, right? Now, these particular recommendations, please hear me carefully. They may not fit each individual person. Every individual person is different, so they will fit your specific needs differently, okay? All right, and it also will depend on whether you are a sedentary, going right down the spectrum, or you are moderate or lightly moderate, or sedentary or lightly, or you are extremely active, okay? So you will need to tailor your needs ratio to achieve your objectives, right? For example, a person who wants to have better blood sugar control or lose excess body fat may succeed on a meal plan consisting of 25% carbs, 15% fat, 25% protein. The difference will be balanced by vegetables that you add to your meal, right? Which means that you would need about 35%, 30 to 35% now of the rest of the meal to vegetables. And that is just one example of one individual's needs. You may not everybody will need that, okay? All right. Now, how do you track your macronutrients? By just logging your calories. And I encourage you to use a food journal daily if you're starting this process. If you're starting this process, you need to do it. You need to do it and do it right. You can always have the guidance of, you can call me at any point in time or send me a WhatsApp. These days, everybody sends WhatsApp. You can send me WhatsApp. I may not always be able to answer the phone, but I will always answer my WhatsApps when I get home in the evenings, right? So just log your calories. Use a food journal, and it helps you for more than one reason. It helps to remind you of where you are, where you want to go, and where you don't want to be. So food logs are very important. So if here's an example of your counting. If you here's an example of how to calculate macronutrients for a 2,000 calorie diet consisting of 40% carbs, 30% protein, and 30% fat. And this, as I said before, is based on this is a specialized need. So for your carbs, you need 4 calories per gram. 40% of 2,000 calories is 800 calories of carbs per day. This now would be somebody who is really active or who is extremely active, or next in line between moderate and, you understand, a little above moderate. Total grams of carbs allowed per day is 800 divided by 4 equal 200 grams, right? Okay, so it's 4, and you get 4 calories per gram, right? For proteins, 4 calories per gram. So, and this is what this person has 30% of their 2,000 calories is 600 calories of proteins per day, right? So the total grams of protein allowed per day is 600 divided by 4 equal 150 grams. Now, let me tell you, I use a calculator that is moderate. So when I'm calculating the foods that I cook in the days at the office, I know I try to portion them according to the individuals, a general across the board individuals that I am working with, right? So while you may not get, for most of my meals, you will not, this is a specialized one. So you will not get something that is like this, but you will get something that is calculated and balanced, right? And mainly on the low calorie side, but you know that you need some calories for energy. So, but what I'm trying to say is, this is an example, and when I'm making the meals at the office, although it is a mission, I try to ensure that I work out the meals, so much so now that I can just do it without even thinking, right? All right. For fats now, 9 calories per gram, and especially those people who are very active. So you need 9 calories per gram of fat. That is what you really need to have when you are consuming it. So your ideal intake on the basis of this now would be 200 grams of carbs, 150 grams of protein, and 67 grams of fat. And right? And that is if you have that specialized heavy activity like the other person, right? I just gave you an example of a specialized one. Okay? All right. Now, this is, I want to mention this. It is not something that I am wholly behind, but I shouldn't say wholly behind. This is something that I learned. I want to share with you. There are other things, the other parts of the spectrum, but it's something for your education. You can utilize or not, but it's something that you could look at, right? So there's this method of calculation called if it fits your macro. The IIFYM, you will hear about it all around. Now, how do you do this? You calculate your metabolic rate, and the standardized equations are used to determine how much energy your body uses to rest based on age, sex, height, and weight. And this is known as your BMR. Now, when you calculate that, you adjust for your activity level, right? It is multiplied. You remember earlier we talked about the activity factor, and that is whether you're sedentary or not. So the BMR is multiplied by the activity factor to increase your calories based on your activity level. So whether or not you're sedentary or you are extremely active. And I told you before about the TDEE. That's what you will get when you do that. Okay? Sounds a little complicated, and it's funny that I even understand it and I'm not a doctor. But guess what? Sometimes you have to do what you have to do, right? All right. So after you do that, now you adjust based on your weight goals, right? So if you want to lose weight, reduce your calorie intake by 15 to 25% daily. If you want to gain weight, the goal is to increase your calories by 5 to 15% daily. Yes? It's actually useful, you know. It's just that sometimes it has a little bit of trickiness in your calculations, right? But if you use the formulas I gave you before, you will not have a problem about it, right? And then determine your macros. Your protein intake should be between 0.7 to 1.0 grams per pound of body weight. Your fat intake should be between 0.25 to 0.4 grams per pound of body weight. And all the remaining calories are allotted for carbs. You don't have to use them because you still remember you still have to put in your vegetables, right? So you don't have to put that onto carbs, okay? And remember now, in the realm of things as Seventh-day Adventist people living the health message, we need to practice healthy habits. So our vegetables must be anywhere from 40 to 50% of our plates. If we want to cut back on something, and the ideal is 50%. If you want to cut back on something, cut back on your carbs, the carbohydrates, the starch, right? Now, recipes. And these are, I'm coming down to the end. I did mention last time that we would do I would give you some bonus recipes. I know a lot of people, you like to have your mayonnaise, your mayonnaise. This is a beautiful recipe to make your mayonnaise at home, right? So you need a cup of soy milk, and the reason that we use soy milk is because of the fat content, okay? We use black salt. Remember I mentioned black salt is high in sulfur. And it's also very mild in the flavor. It has a really soft flavor. Of course, you use your onion and your garlic powder if you have to. If you don't want to use the powder, the granules, onion or garlic granules, you can just blend your onion and garlic and ensure that you squeeze out the juice and save the juice and add a little honey to it for your antibiotic. And then you add your nutritional yeast. You can also, I like to use olive oil for mayonnaise. You can also use sunflower oil and soy oil because they are very mild in flavor. They're very indifferent in flavor, really. They have no flavor at all. I must tell you though, and then of course you can use a little lemon or lime juice. I must tell you though, with this mayonnaise and with mayonnaise generally, you have it's not all the mayonnaise recipes that you have will work to get to that fluffy mayonnaise. You have to be careful how you do it. Now here is how you will do it. Now the first 5 ingredients, I don't remember what they are right now, but you will just blend them on high speed for 5 to 10 seconds. While you're blending, just drizzle in your oil and you blend for about a minute until you see it becomes thick and fluffy when the oil is added. Stop the blender when it is fluffy and then you stir in your lemon juice and pour, just spin for about 2 seconds and then pour it into a covered container and keep it chilled in the refrigerator. Keep it preferably in a glass container, right? Now, this is it. I'm showing you a pretty picture of it. All right, that's your mayonnaise, okay? Right? Now, another recipe, a lot of people always ask me about sour cream and buttermilk. Oh, this is a great recipe for your sour cream. It's kind of similar, really. It's really just mixing everything and putting them into a high-speed blender and making sure that they become a nice, clean, pure paste. No, I wouldn't say paste. It's a little runnier than a paste. And then just pour it into a container and keep it in the fridge. And you can use it in all your recipes for sour cream. It's delightful. And if you want to make it into different colors, you can do that too. You can use a little beetroot if you want the red, a little beetroot juice, just a little tiny bit because you don't want extra water. You can use the carrot or the turmeric so you can get your orange and your yellow. Or if you have annatto is absolutely fantastic. You can get a nice orange. You can use berries if you want to get black colors, and you can use spinach or callaloo if you want green colors, right? So all of these, you see how wonderful it is to make your things in nature without having to worry about using the things that are not healthy for the Lord's temple. And these things are absolutely delicious. I have never had sour cream I've never had sour cream really outside of this, what I've made. I've never had sour cream because of course it's made from milk, and growing up in my early years, when I was growing up in the country, grew up on a farm, I used to like goat milk, I have to tell you, when I was a child. And my mother used to make what we call bammy bread. She would just make the little tin bammies. They were really, she would make them small, like what we make flatbread now. But she would make the little bammies and she fold them into and put them on the zinc on a towel, and they would dry in the sun, and they would be so delicious. We would have them with goat milk with salt in the morning before we go to school. Man, they were delicious. And we would have cornmeal porridge with a little bit of the milk. Oh, it was wonderful growing up. Man, you gotta go to the country to grow up and get some of these fantastic things, I tell you. All right. Okay, so we looked at how to do it. Mustard, how you want to make some mustard. Some people like to have mustard on their sandwiches. It really adds a beautiful taste. And listen, you don't have to go to Burger King and Kentucky and all those places to get real nice gourmet style food. You can have it at home. All you need is the know-how. Okay? You agree with me?
Yes, agree with you.
Yes. You can have gourmet style food at home. Just yeah. So this is the mustard. You can use your mustard thing. This is how you can make your mustard, and you can use it on your sandwiches and all that, and it's absolutely fantastic. Now, of course, you have to be moderate in all things. So whatever you have, you just use them in moderation. That was I told you how this is how you make your mustard, right? I don't think I'm going to run through it. It's a little long, but you know, it's great, man. These things, and see there, I made a really nice one for you, as it is. Yeah. That's the mustard, right? Okay. All right, your ketchup now. A lot of people, now this is one that people drive me crazy, I know, over the weeks and the years for ketchup, because I personally don't use ketchup because it is absolutely loaded with sugar, among other things. And I plant tomatoes and I get a lot of tomatoes from my garden. So all I do is blend my tomatoes, blend them with a little basil, a little pepper, a little apple cider, just a little apple cider vinegar for the tartness to sort of balance it. And then I use basil and oregano and thyme. And I use a little olive oil and I blend it all, and that is my sauce. Every single week I use that same apple sauce, that same tomato sauce to cook the meals that I prepare at Eat and Joy. And it's fantastic. So if you want to get a nicer, smoother one, you can use this to make your ketchup, right? All you have to do, and it's so easy, just get all the ingredients and blend them. And then you warm them over low heat until, of course, some of the water evaporates, right? And then you just put it into a glass container and keep it in the fridge. And if you notice, I like to say, if you are going to keep your stuff for an extended period of time, it's best to keep them in a glass jar, right? Okay. Now that is your ketchup, right? But of course, my tomato sauce, it may look a little more burgundy or a little lighter, but this is it. It's delicious, right? And it's healthy, and you know where it's coming from, and you don't have no preservative and chemicals in there, right? And you can eat as much as you want. Your butter, my friend, you remember your butter recipe? Okay, so you can make it. You're waiting on your recipe, but not to worry. So this is your butter recipe. So now this one is you place them in a blender and blend on low, right? In a separate bowl, you combine your salt and your water, because when you put the salt into that oil mix, it's not going to melt, right? Then you mix the salt and the water together and add it to the blender, and then mix it. You can if you want to flavor your butter, you can do that. If you want to use cultured butter, just use some yogurt to make your butter, and all of that, right? Or just add some probiotic to the mix and let it ferment overnight, and then you put it in the fridge and you're good to go, right? You see how very fantastic it is to just eat a wholesome whole food diet. It becomes a lifestyle after that. You have no appetite for anything else. You understand? And that is my desire for every individual is on this platform, that you will follow the plans and the diet of the Father and the lifestyle of the Lord, so that you will be healthy and happy and live long to be with your families, and also to do what the Lord would have you do. You know what I mean? Or to have us do, right? Okay. So questions and comments, because right now I think I am done. I am so done. I am done. All right. Questions and comments. And I did not keep you too long today, right?
Well, you finish before time.
I see. You see, I'm trying to preserve it so that individuals can go back to their activities.
Yes. Oh, so we're getting some questions in the chat.
How long does the cheese last? Now, it depends on if you're going to make the cheese that we make at Eden Joy. It can be frozen, so you can keep it up to 9 months if you freeze it. So if you don't freeze it, you have about 6 months on it. If you keep it in the container where you keep the moisture down, because you know the two things that will cause your thing to go off is moisture and temperature, right? So keep it in the refrigerator plus or minus 2. So it keeps it at a very cool area. But if let me tell you, when you buy those cheeses, it's not going to last you. It's not going to last you a month in the fridge. But as I said, professionally, you have 6 months on your cream cheese if you keep the moisture and the temperature balanced. And if you freeze them, you can have up anywhere from 9 months to a year. You can have it if you freeze it. As a matter of fact, I was trying to test and push, and I have cheese that I made, and it's still in my refrigerator from about last year, April, and I still have it in the freezer. I wrapped it, and what I do is I try as frequently as possible, maybe once a week or once every other week. I change the wrapper so that I control the moisture and I keep it at a temperature. And so I can actually dice it now, and I can grate it because it becomes a powder. Now we sell something called Parmesan cheese, and the Parmesan is really just a cheese powder that you can pour on. You can use it as a seasoning, or you can use it on your vegetables, stuff like that. And that one doesn't go off very easily. You have up to a year and a half with that. And once you keep it in a cool, dry place. You understand? But nevertheless, they are delightful. Have I answered your question, Shanice? Carob powder and malt powder. I have carob powder, I have carob chips, and malt powder. That is something that I make on demand. Okay. So if you're interested in getting malt powder from me, you'd have to send me a note or send me a WhatsApp, and then I can make it for you. All of these things I'll show you how to make one of these days, so you won't even need to call Sister Price, right?
Question.
The mission is to teach you. The mission is to teach you how, if I will just become the addendum to what you're doing after that, right?
Question.
Huh?
Question.
Go ahead, Sister Walters.
You have a question?
Get the coconut sugar so brown.
Molasses.
Okay.
Molasses. That's what I was saying earlier. The molasses is added yes, because you know anything with coconut would be white.
Yes.
So when they work out the coconut and they make that puree and they dehydrate it and do all of that thing, they add back some molasses to it and it gets brown.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's more nutritious when they do that because they add a whole lot of iodine and other rare minerals that you need. You see, it makes, by the way, your coconut sugar, it makes a beautiful, you see those people who love Milo? Let me just tell you, you see, you can use the carob powder, a little of the coconut sugar, or molasses sugar, the molasses powder, and a little, I don't know how many people love Lasco. I personally love Lasco soy milk. But you can also use that in your, or you use a little coconut powder. And you pour, you put it into your cup and pour hot water on it. And when you do that, you get a cup of Milo. If you want to put other nutritious things in there, you just put some beetroot powder or put some barley powder, all those little things. You get a whole nice cup of beverage that you can use for your substitute your coffee, because I would hope that nobody on this bunch of this lot is having coffee, but a lot of people are addicted to Milo because they don't understand the dangers of it, right? And even children, and Milo is a thing that works on your brain. It is very high in aluminum, so you have to be careful. So, but you can always make a substitute, a beautiful substitute at home. Or of course, you can give us a call. And I'm not, by the way, it's not advertising, people. I'm just saying to you, if you need it, we can always help you out, okay? Because it's something that we sell. All right? So.
Any more questions?
This is another great, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm happy you enjoyed it. I think you will enjoy when we get together. We're actually doing the things. So everybody be prepared to take your aprons, or I don't know. I'm sure that you're going to say, no, Sister Price, you will do it and we will listen, right? I'm almost sure that's what I'm going to hear.
Oh.
Sister Gillian, huh?
No.
Sister Gillian laughing, so I know exactly what you're going to tell me, right?
Action.
Huh?
Practical. No. I want to be hands-on.
Exactly.
You want it hands-on?
Yes, want to be hands-on.
You want to be hands-on?
Yes.
Yes, well then, guess what? I will send you the list of utensils and you put on your apron and your hat and come and let's do it.
All right.
So you have to ask Sister Grandison there now to organize the place. And I know you have a big kitchen down there. So we can come down there and do that. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Well,
So
I learn more from doing. So I don't know how many people are like that. I
Learn.
don't like this. I don't like to be sitting down. Funny enough, I don't like to learn from reading the book and then I have to. I like it when you tell me like that and then when you do it with me. I
Yes.
learn more from like that. And some
That-
people are like that. Some people learn by doing more.
yeah, man. We think that basically you should come and show us.
I knew you were going to say that. I know if nobody else says that, I know you're going to say that, Sister
Yeah,
Gladys.
because a lot of persons on the chat, we want to learn. Some persons know how to make some stuff, but some persons want to tweak it a bit, and some person want to know how to do this thing from scratch because they really want to learn the healthier alternative. So
And I want everybody to stay. Listen, thank you very much. Thank you. Good teacher. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me tell you. I want everybody to, this is my mission, and I want as many people to understand and appreciate and practice the valuable lessons that Christ laid down from creation for our food. Our bodies are the temple, and let me tell you, you never understand when you're healthy. You know what? How we appreciate how when we are healthy and what we need to put in our body to keep it healthy when we get sick. When we get sick, you know what happened? We cuss and we go on bad because we don't want this thing upon us. It's a curse. And let me tell you something. I went into many years ago, I had cancer and God relieved me, and restored me. And let me tell you, I appreciate the value of not bending the rules. When I was lying on my back with all these tubes coming out of my tummy and my this part and that part, and I can't do anything for almost a year, I'm saying, I am not used to that because that is something I don't like to sit down. And I don't like to have to be sitting there. Somebody have to be bathing me, taking me to eat, taking me to, oh Lord, that nearly killed me. So let me tell you, brethren, you won't understand until you get sick. That is it. But anyway, my desire is just that we will practice the good principles that the Lord asks us to and just keep our bodies healthy and happy. And we will serve the Lord better when we are keeping our bodies healthy.
definitely, definitely. I know, Sister Price, that you're saying you don't want to advertise your store, but you know, in order for us to some persons to learn what you were showing, you know, and what you're teaching us, we have to reach out to you. So we need to find your store and we need to order. So you can let us know where your store is located for those who don't know.
All right. Okay then. All right. So we are, I don't know how many people, I think most people here might know Dr. Price. He is the pediatrician in Maypen at Maypen Hospital, and he has an office a little bit up from the hospital there at 79 Manchester Avenue. That's Gilead Pediatrics. So it's just up from the post office. Eden Joy Whole Foods is the name of that little mission, and it is at 79 Manchester Avenue, and it's actually at the back of Dr. Price's place, right? So we do all the things. We have a little manufacturing place around there. We have a little kitchen where we do the little cooking and stuff, and we sell other items like whole food stuff, and then we sell containers and stuff like that. You know, so it's 79 Manchester Avenue, Eden Joy Whole Foods, right to the back of Gilead Pediatrics at Dr. Price's office at 79 Manchester Avenue, right? Now, I just had a question. Do you do catering? Well, that will depend on what, I will do it, but it depends on what the occasion is. So if you would like me to do it, yes, I can do it for you, but you'd have to talk to me more about that. I think you can get my number from Sister Jillian. and she can pass on my number. Yes, Sister Julian, if you, there's a lady called Shanice.
She's the one, you know her. You know
I
Shanice.
do.
Yes.
I do.
Shanice.
Oh, really?
Already. I think
Shanice. Please remind me who Shanice is.
Shanice recently started eating your lasagna and she came to
Oh,
you. So
oh, really? Oh,
always
nice.
lasagna days.
Okay, then. Yes. And last Thursday, we got another new person too.
Yes.
And he ordered 2 at a time. And what I'm trying to do is I'm also including soups these days, because quite a few people have asked me for soups, and we make about 9 different types of soups. So we are introducing the soups now. So we are cutting down on calories. So we're going to cut your lasagna in 2. So
no.
Oh, never mind. Oh, what you said? No. No, I won't cut your lasagna. Oh. Yeah.
Remember you also do some water things.
Yes, we do purify. Yes, we do water, reverse osmosis water. That is that, and our water is purified with using the ultraviolet light and charcoal. So when you use or drink our water, you get 100% pure, clean water. By the way, that system that we have that we use for water, for doing the water now, that is the exact system that they use to purify the water at Uchi Pines. That's where I went to get my healing from cancer. So when we came back, I bought that same system and I said, I want that system to use for myself and to help others, right? So that's it.
All right, so now we know where to go and now we know who to call for help. So thank you so much, Sister Price, for a lovely, exciting presentation as usual. Really loved it and learned a lot, right? We're looking forward to the practical session. Now, we know that next week is Mother's Day weekend, so there are persons that already...
Oh, really? I didn't remember. Okay.
Yeah. So next week we would go on pause. So our practical session would be the following Sunday. The following week.
The following week, is it? Wait a minute. Let me look on the date.
Yeah, man.
Let me see the calendar. The 18th. Today is Mother's Day is the 8th.
Mother's Day is the 8th, yeah. So it would be the 15th.
All right. All
so
right.
it would be the 15th that we would all join. Everybody come out with your aprons, etc.
But we would have to do it earlier. We would have to come out at an earlier time.
Such as what time?
I don't know, probably about say 10 to 1 or so. Is that okay for everybody or no? Because let me tell you why. I'd like if we came out a little earlier, because we usually do our Bible study at 5, and we have a whole online Bible study that Dr. runs, that I am as usual heavily involved in. So I try not to go down into the 5 o'clock time. You know, at least I would have to at least leave Mapen at your side at about 4 to get back. You know what I mean? But I don't know, we can work out the time, but I just want to bear in mind that at least from about 4 o'clock, that would be a little, you know?
So probably we could start for 11.
All right.
I'll see.
All right, 11 to 2.
Everybody know.
All right, so 11 to 2 would be...
are on the chat.
Huh?
11 to 2 sounds good to everybody. I know Sunday is a busy day for most persons.
I know, because we are Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah. Mr. Walton, you were saying something?
No, yes, that sounds better. Yes, that's okay.
Okay, so from 11. So we'll start at 11 then.
A suggestion here.
Sure.
Hoping we don't have any funerals, right?
Yeah, I have to check on that. But I
Yeah.
don't think it would disturb. I would have to check on that, but it would be in the kitchen section that we would be in.
All
And
right.
then we have an
All right.
upstairs.
A suggestion here, Sister Grandison.
Go ahead, Sister Debbie.
Okay, I raise this because like for myself, which can't come out like now, and probably other persons who will have a lot of stuff to do. Because honestly, I believe all of us want to do the practical. That's where we really want to go. But is it possible that we could, just like how we are now, also do it online, so we can even stay in our homes, and while they're doing, persons who are out there doing the practical, we can also stay in our home and do our practical as well.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
Okay,
It's a fantastic idea. You could cook with me. I cook at your kitchen and you cook with me. Stay in your kitchen and we'll see what we're doing. Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
So we'll try. The only thing is, I think somebody would have to be on the phone, or we can try and
I don't know how to do that fantastic technology thing. So
that's the only thing. If it's one of us that's going to video, we're going to possibly lose out. So that's the only thing.
Oh yes, that's true. So you might have to get one of them young people, man, to do all of them.
Might have to get somebody.
I think this is where the males come in. We're gonna have to get some males.
That's where your husband come in, Sister Debbie.
Yes. My husband.
Communication.
I am not very tech savvy, so I can't. That one I can't tell you about much.
All right, so we'll try and arrange that so that everybody can benefit. But we still want everybody who can come out to come out. So we don't, not because it's going to be online, you shouldn't come, The online would be for persons who really can't manage to come out.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes. So, it would be nice for a lot of people to come and actually be on spot.
Right.
But the folks who really genuinely have a desperate need to and they are not able to go, then we could work something out for them. But believe me, it is not as nice on Zoom as it is when you're there. But Sister Debbie, I'm not going to take it away from you, please. All right?
No, I do agree with you. I believe being there in person is better than actually being home. Just that I definitely can't go right now.
But look here, Sister Jillian, we could also do something really exciting to where you go in your kitchen and cook with me. So I cook here and I'm looking at everybody and we're cooking together.
Yes. Yes,
that's a great thing. I don't know. It's just something. I'm just thinking just to, but it's up to you. You know what I mean?
I guess we can discuss it further, but I really think that some persons still want to be there in person.
Yeah, man. Of course. It's just one hour. It's just one of those things.
Right. No, I'm just saying that they can say what they want to say, as in somebody can. So we could choose.
Yes, and sometimes when you're in your kitchen and you're doing it and you see the thing might look a little too wet or a little too dry, or it might look a little too pale or something, and you're like, what in the world is this? What is supposed to be like? And you get chaotic and all that kind of thing. I know. So, but we will have I can guarantee. Did you send a poll just now?
Yes.
Oh Lord Jesus, I don't know. I don't think this one is something that I think is really the members that should do this one. So.
Yeah, man, everybody has access to it, so they can click.
Oh, let me see. But it seems as if in the kitchen at church is winning the race, man. I see a 75% here that says in the kitchen. What? 4 out of every 5. Are you
Everybody
serious?
on the poll and we'll see.
All right, well, here's the thing. We had really initially planned to come to have a part there and a part where people can look at. So if people are going to be coming, or not if, when people come, they will take we will give you a list of your utensils and you will wear your aprons and we will do the necessary things, bearing in mind that COVID is still around, right?
Right. So I mean, what I'll do is we'll go ahead and use the kitchen and we'll also stream it live. If there are any changes, I'll let you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So thanks again for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you too.
Yes. At this point in time, we're going to ask Sister Walters to close in prayer.
Okay. Let us pray. Eternal Father and our God, we thank you for this evening. Wonderful session, healthy lifestyle session. Lord, we thank you for the presenter. We ask, Lord, that you be with her in a special way. Continue to allow your Holy Spirit to work in her and through her so that she will impart all the knowledge, healthy lifestyle to whoever that is in need. Lord, we ask that you be with each and every one of us on this platform. Help us, Lord, not just to listen, but to absorb and to put whatever we have learned this evening into practice, and to also share it with those persons who we know that are not knowledgeable where healthy lifestyle is concerned. Thank you again, Lord. Very good presentation. And Lord, we know that you want us to be healthy because you made us as perfect people, but sin damages us. And so, Lord, we can reverse it by abiding by your laws of health, healthy lifestyle, Lord. Help us to be willing to do so day by day so that our lives will be changed and that we'll be healthy day after day. Lord, bless us and keep us. And as we separate from here, from this platform, Lord, we ask that you guide us and be with us in a special way and help, Lord, that our hearts and our mind may be stayed on you and that we may continue to grow in your grace and in love. Have your own way now, we pray, for Christ's sake. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you all for coming. And
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.